Tonight on News 5 Live, big changes coming at the Belize Tourism Board as Director Karen Bevans steps down. The IMF confirms the Belizean economy is in trouble. And diesel prices going up once more. These stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
That you can access unlimited services with Smart. Tired of being measured or cut off when you need to be connected? It's a fact that when you sign up for Smart's Plus plan, you get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data. And it's a fact that you can sign up with your group of up to 5 members for Smart's Share plans and up to 40 members for Smart's Enterprise plans for unlimited talk, text, and data. Smart has the true unlimited plans. That's a fact. Be smart and live smart.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
That's the sound of fuel efficiency. Every day, every time, I choose Una Fuels powered with Dynamics. Una, a brand committed with the future.
1, 2, 3, 4.
A workplace that is healthy and safe protects you and those depending on you at home. Prevent the spread of COVID-19 at work by following these steps. Always practice safe and healthy habits, like keeping your work environment clean and disinfected. Adapt working conditions and methods to reduce the risk of infection. Use personal protective equipment properly at all times. Speak up if you do not feel safe, because your safety and health is the priority. Frontline workers are exposed to a higher risk and need particular attention. Cooperate with and support them.
It takes all of us to stop the spread. A safe and healthy workplace is a better workplace.
For more information, visit www.covid19.bz. A message from the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the National Trade Union Congress of Belize in collaboration with the International Labor Organization.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, March 12th. I am Sabrina Daly. After months of controversy, Karen Bevans is officially out at the Belize Tourism Board. This evening, News 5 was the first to report that the BTB staff has been informed of the embattled director's departure. As we've been reporting since late last year, Bevans had come under scrutiny after refusing to step down from her post following the November 2020 general elections. At the start of 2019, Bevans signed a 5-year contract to remain as the Director of Tourism until 2024. The sweet deal awarded Bevans $173,000 annually, with a number of plum perks and rewards. Just last month, an investigation was launched following reports the BTB had dipped into the pension fund to pay salaries last year. The allegation is that over $400,000 in pension funds were used between July and November 2020. Both Bevans and former BTB chair Einer Gomez were under fire for the decision. The Ministry of Tourism tells News 5 they will be issuing a full statement on Monday about this change. We revisit an interview with Minister of Tourism Anthony Mahler, where he explained the latest investigation into Bevans last month.
It's not solely Mrs. Bevans, it's a review of the trustees for a pension fund for the staff, and we're looking at the way they used it and some excess funds that had accrued over time, and they used it for certain things that we don't think is appropriate.
Could you explain that a little bit more, sir? Who had the authority over that fund?
There are trustees, but a trust is governed by its regulations and stuff like that. We believe that there was a mistake in how they used the excess funds that had accrued in the trust for the regular staff for paying salaries over time during the COVID period, and I think that's against the trust.
How much, what's the amount that was used, sir?
Probably close to maybe $350,000, $400,000, somewhere around there.
That was used, that was for pension and was used to pay people's salaries when there were some people that were let off and all of that.
As I understand it, the board in July had approved that there was a 20 or 25% pay cut for the staff at the BTB. And to offset that, they use the excess for the pension funds to pay themselves.
Could this be grounds for the termination of not only Ms. Bevans but anybody else who sat on the trustee?
Like I said, I'll wait for legal advice. This is not a witch hunt. This was brought to our attention by former pensioners. So people who were a part of the pension who were terminated over the last few months or last year or so, they brought it to our attention.
The Belmopan Civic Center was today transformed into a vaccination center for the first phase of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Before midday, over 100 had come out to get their jabs and headed back home with a renewed level of confidence to move around. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
From as early as 9 a.m., scores of persons from a most vulnerable population, as well as persons who are on dialysis, HIV positive, or are cancer patients converged at the Belmopan Civic Center to get their shot of the COVID-19 vaccine acquired recently through a donation from India. The administering of the vaccine was an easy process.
They had to pre-register. We had a flyer out for them with numbers, so they pre-registered, and so that it would be even easier for them, like for example having to find their health information system number, and from there they arrived, and then we would still do a pre-screening, and then because we need to know their baseline vital signs, then they walk in. And after that, they are given a card so that they can walk over to the vaccinators. They get the vaccine, they wait for 15 minutes so that they can be observed so that, for any adverse reaction, if any. And after that, then they walk out.
While the traffic to the center was primarily those who had pre-registered, walk-ins are not being turned away.
We are also accommodating those who are just walk-in. We just ask them to have an identification, and they are still getting their vaccines. We're still processing them. So we have people with appointments, and we're accommodating walk-in as well. And so far, we've vaccinated over 100 people. So we're going good.
Among those getting vaccinated was Philip Timmons, who says that he was ready despite the apprehension by some of the side effects.
I'm here for an 11:30 appointment to take the vaccination. I believe I'm over 60, definitely. And it is time that I take the vaccination. I believe it's safe enough. Mind you, there are other people who are cautious or suspicious about it, but I believe it is safe enough, and it gives you, and it builds up a wall, and it helps you to guard against the COVID situation.
I was scared, afraid. I get nervous with my daughters. They keep on telling me, go, 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 go. But I said, maybe other people need it more than I. But she convinced me. She convinced me to come. And I feel it's okay. It wasn't hard.
While it is only the first of 2 jabs that these persons are getting, it does help them regain another level of normalcy.
I was afraid to walk outside, to go by, because the way I heard how COVID treats you and people dying, it scares. So every time I go home, I said, I wonder if I catch it, But
so
then,
I could go some more.
Yeah, but now that I'm getting the injection, I feel confident that I can go now.
It gives you that consciousness, that safeness. You feel more confident, you feel better. And if you feel better, it's less stress you have on you. So all in all, I think it sets you up better for, moving around.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Simultaneously, over at the COVID-19 unit of the Western Regional Hospital, Minister of Health and Wellness Michelle Shabat visited the vaccination center there, where he got the first of his 2 shots. While parliamentarians are among the second phase of the vaccination rollout plan, Shabat confirmed with the media today that he is included as part of the Ministry of Health and Wellness staff, which falls within the first phase.
The flow was really swift this morning. We went in and they took my biodata initially, and then the nurse came out and gave us a brief little talk about what to expect and what vaccination we were going to be getting. And then I was shown into the vaccination room where I was vaccinated, and I had to wait 15 minutes in the waiting area for observation, just to make sure that I did not have any adverse reaction.
Sir, are you taking the vaccine as a healthcare worker or as the minister?
Well, I am taking it as a part of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. When they calculated the numbers of healthline workers that would have been included, the staff at the ministry was included, so I am part of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
So you are not breaking protocol by not being a part of phase 2 versus
well,
phase 1?
I question that, but I believe as the Minister of Health and Wellness, it is important for me to show to the general public that I have confidence in the vaccine, and hopefully that will allow them to have confidence in the vaccine as well.
But are people jumping the queue? The first phase of the vaccination rollout plan was for frontline healthcare workers from COVID-19 units. It also included persons 60 years old and over, as well as persons who are HIV positive in dialysis and cancer patients. So when we saw recently appointed Belizean ambassador to Guatemala, Jose Alpuche, get his vaccine, we asked if some special reservation was made just for him. Here's how Minister Shabat explains it.
He's leaving the country shortly to take up his position in Guatemala as our ambassador, and he did ask the Ministry of Health and Wellness for permission to be vaccinated before he left the country.
Is that how it works? Can permission be granted as requested?
Well, you know, we don't want to break protocol. We want the phases to be followed as strictly as possible, but neither can we be so rigid that we can't allow a couple exceptions to the rule.
Over 50% of the frontline healthcare workers have been vaccinated so far. That's a total of 2,444. The thrust of the vaccination drive remains to vaccinate as many of the frontline healthcare workers as possible. Since COVID-19 was first detected in Belize, there have been a total of 12,359 confirmed cases. Of those figures, 316 fatalities have been recorded and 11,972 have been recovered. Fortunately, the number of active cases is down to 65, despite 4 new cases being recorded on Thursday. It is marked improvement from where we once were months ago.
Over the last 2-3 weeks, we've been seeing numbers below the double digits, which has been excellent for us. It shows that there has been great effectiveness in the approach taken by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. It shows that the public understand the seriousness and they are cooperating. And so I think what we're seeing is a combination of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the healthcare workers and the public working together to flatten this curve.
With COVID-19 figures on the decline, will the quarantine measures currently be in place lifted? These come to an end on Saturday, April 3rd, in the middle of the Easter holidays. Health and Wellness Minister Michelle Shabat says don't be surprised if it is extended.
What continues to cause us a lot of concern at the Ministry of Health and Wellness is especially the type of behavior we anticipate will be happening over the Easter weekend. And we've come so far. And so while I can't say definitively that it will be extended, don't be surprised if it is.
Coming up, the IMF concludes its meetings in Belize, and Prime Minister says the unions only have 2 choices. Details when we return.
Hello friends, this is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Over Philistia will I triumph. Here Jehovah God is described as a warrior who has defeated the nations in Canaan and divided the land among his people. Shechem is described as a chief city, Ephraim being strong as his helmet. Judah, being the royal tribe, is bearing his scepter, but Moab is chosen as his washpot or wash basin. Moab was nothing but a washpot or a basin, something contemptible and despicable, yet there was a use for Moab. To wash the feet was the office of a slave, and in every home the guest was greeted by a servant with a basin of water to wash and refresh their feet, or a basin for soldiers coming from the battlefield. It was not the most desirable position and profession to have. Moab was aware of her dark background and incestuous birth due to a drunken father and the curse placed upon her because of it. But she was not ruled out from service to God, even if it meant being God's washpot. But she was not alone. Can we not but remember that poor sinful woman who came where Jesus was and stood at his feet behind him, weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears, and did wipe them with the hairs of her head, and kissed his feet and anointed them with precious ointment? Blessed are those who share Moab's story, but who serve and honor God in an humble and insignificant place and become washpots for a dirty world. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Unlike the other guys, Digi doesn't throttle customers down to 3G. which is why anyone would be a fool not to invest. So, do we have a deal? Hello? Hello?
Instead, Digi offers more LTE speeds in all mobile phone plans.
You, sir, are brilliant. Thank you for doing business with us.
Plus, the most affordable prepaid mobile data plans starting as low as $1.
Started getting ready for Easter yet? If not, to get the cash you need to hit the road, take a sip, and kick your feet up for your Easter adventures, apply online at quickstoponline.com or head on over to your nearest Quick Stop branch for the cash you need. As a first-time customer, enjoy your holidays with no payments until April. Offer ends March 31st. So let's get you Easter ready with a no-hassle loan from Quick Stop Personal Finance Center.
Prevenir el contagio de la COVID-19 requiere que los negocios de todos los tamaños y sectores den máxima prioridad a la seguridad y salud en el trabajo. Los gerentes y empleados deben realizar evaluaciones de riesgos para identificar áreas y procedimientos que ponen en peligro las vidas y los negocios. 6 pasos para crear un lugar de trabajo seguro y saludable. 1. Identificar posibles fuentes de transmisión de virus. 2. Determinar quién podría estar infectado y cómo podría infectarse. 3. Discutir y decidir las medidas de prevención y control. 4. Implementar, comunicar y testear medidas. 5. Asegurar que el equipamiento de protección es adecuado para cada situación. 6. Mantener registros, revisar medidas y actualizarlas cuando sea necesario.
We must all do our part to slow the spread. A safe and healthy workplace is a better workplace.
Para obtener más información, visite www.covid19.bz. Un mensaje de la Cámara de Comercio e Industria de Belice y el Congreso Nacional de Sindicatos de Belice, en colaboración con la Organización Internacional del Trabajo.
The mega jackpot is now up to $106,079 and it can be yours with just $2. Don't miss your chance to win it all. Make sure you get your tickets for the coming show this Saturday, March 13th. The live game airs on Channel 5, Wave Radio, Love FM and Radio Bahia at 8 p.m. You can also stream the show on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Belize Mega Bingo. Don't miss your opportunity to win some mega cash. Mega Bingo is the game.
Do you know what is the COVID-19 vaccine? The COVID-19 vaccine provides support to help your body develop immunity to the virus that causes COVID-19 without us having to get the illness. It is safe and very effective. How does the COVID-19 vaccine work? Different types of vaccines work in different ways to offer protection. But with all types of vaccine, the body is left with a supply of memory that will remember how to fight the virus in the future. It typically takes a few weeks for the body to produce the antibodies after the vaccination. Types of vaccines. Currently, there are different types of vaccines. Each type of vaccine prompts our bodies to recognize and protect us from the virus that causes COVID-19. None of these vaccines can give you COVID-19. Some of the vaccines are Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna. Both are RNA types, part of the virus genetic code. They both need 2 doses. Sputnik V and AstraZeneca, both are viral type, genetic modified virus. They both need 2 doses. Do I still need to practice safety measures after being vaccinated? Yes. You need to continue wearing your mask, washing hands, and practicing physical social distance. The vaccine reduces the severity of the COVID-19 infection. There is also evidence that the vaccine reduces transmission of the COVID-19 virus.
Mahogany Heights. My name is Raquel Vega. I am the community health worker for Mahogany Heights.
Located just off the Western Highway between Belize City and Belmopan is a small village known as Mahogany Heights.
As the community health worker in Mahogany Heights, Raquel Vega cares for approximately 1,063 persons. She has lived in Mahogany Heights for 18 years and has been serving as the community health worker for 11 years.
Our role basically is to educate our people first of all. And for us is to just offer basic first aid service to our community.
As the country is learning to cope with COVID-19, community-based delivery of essential health services becomes a viable solution to the disruption of health services created by an upsurge in cases and lockdowns and to the shifting of the health workforce.
Whenever they come, I just have to make sure they sanitize, we do social distance and try, to keep it safe.
Through the European Union-funded Health Sector Support Program Belize project, funds were reoriented for improving integrated healthcare at the community level during COVID-19. 230 health workers, including Raquel Vega, received work kits containing non-contact thermometers, stethoscopes, glucometers with strips and lancets, and first aid kits.
As a community health worker, I am now equipped to go out into my community and serve better in my community.
Thank you. Gracias. Sarah May. Thank you.
Hello? Okay, sure, I'll be there.
Hi, Mommy. When are you coming home? I really miss you.
Hearing the voice of our loved ones can always lift our spirits and make us feel whole again. With Smart's twice as nice promotion, prepaid customers who make 5 minutes worth of national calls on Sundays can enjoy 50% off. Top double on all national calls for the rest of the day. Call your loved ones and enjoy half off all day long. Smart, bringing people together.
Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins. These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott rapid test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient. Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
Belize's dire economic situation has been confirmed in a recent country review by the International Monetary Fund. The chairless assessment substantiates what Prime Minister Briceño has been repeating all along. Belize is broke and has been a lengthy recession prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. It also confirms that the Barrow administration made use of roughly $700 million in loans between 2019 and 2020. In a concluding statement issued by the visiting IMF team earlier today, it was pointed out that COVID-19 led to a 72% decline in tourist arrivals last year. Tourism accounts for approximately 60% of Belize's foreign exchange earnings and roughly 40% of the gross domestic product. According to the UN Financial Agency, recovery from the pandemic is projected to be long drawn out, with real GDP returning to its 2019 level by 2025. The solution, based on the preliminary findings, is to implement a medium-term financial strategy aimed at restoring debt sustainability, quote, while preparing the ground for the future adoption of a fiscal responsibility law with explicit fiscal rules, unquote. But will government go in with IMF's latest prescription? It's a question that was put to PM Briceño earlier this week, and he referred to government's homegrown economic recovery plan.
As a country and as responsible leaders, I think we have a better understanding as to what we're going through. We have people with the expertise and with the ideas to be able to put a full homegrown economic recovery plan, as opposed to have people outside of Belize imposing on us what is it that we need to do. We know what we have to do. We have done it before, you know. Remember in 2005 when we met with the IMF, we came up with our own homegrown economic recovery plan that when we left, the former Prime Minister then had to admit that we left a primary balance in the budget and that the deficit was less than 1% of GDP. We've done that before. Right now, we are facing a primary balance of negative 9% of GDP. That means we don't have enough money to pay the light bill. That's how bad it is. And we're going to have an overall economic deficit, a budget deficit of about almost 13% of GDP.
Also, in response to the IMF visit, the Prime Minister addressed concerns about Belize's ability to make the Superbond payment coming due in a few weeks. He appeared on Open Your Eyes on Thursday.
There's a payment due in a few months, in May, thank you. And clearly, from all you've outlined, we most likely will not be able to make that payment. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So what is the status of the renegotiation?
Well, we have started, well, I don't think we've started the actual negotiations formally, but we have been sending out signals and so to the bondholders. There has to be a haircut. There's absolutely no way that we can continue at carrying that burden of over $500 million US. And the only way we can get back to sustainability is by asking for the bondholders to take a haircut. And we're trying to get as big as a haircut as we possibly can. The debt recovery team is, it's just a team of different technicians and myself, along with Ministers Courtney and Ministers Koi. And so we are the ones that are working on putting all of these plans together.
Have you, are you utilizing any of the past members of the recovery team, the past PUP representative, ambassador for economic affairs, I think it was, Marcus Pat? Is he involved?
Marcus Pat is involved, but he is involved through the city group. The city group is the group that leads the negotiations, and so they are the ones that we have not. They are the ones that will have started that negotiations. We are not paying a cent to anybody as we speak, and it will be based on performance, on the amount of the haircut that we can get.
People may question what the relationship is like given how Espat left the party in 2012.
As far as I'm concerned, we can't take these things personal, and we are very upset with Mark, but we have a job to do. We have to see how we can get the people with the knowledge and the people with the experience in dealing with this in these negotiations to come and to help us. If the former Prime Minister could help, he's welcome to come and help. Obviously, he's a part of the creation of this wreckage, but we're prepared to take on anybody that's prepared to help us.
One of the big stories for over a week now has been the response of the public service and teachers unions to the government's proposed pay cuts and increment freeze. While there have been communications with the unions from the Financial Secretary, Joseph Waite, and the Deputy Prime Minister, Cordell Hyde, as well as Education Minister Francis Fonseca, there seems to be a very different understanding of what the term consultation means and just how much power the unions have to resist the cuts and freeze. Channel 5's Open Your Eyes host Marlene Cuellar asked Prime Minister John Briceño on Thursday about the potential outcome if the unions don't buy into what the government is proposing.
So what happens if there's a stalemate? What happens if any faction of the union says no?
I don't think that I can. I don't really want to go down that road right now publicly. What we have to do, we have to move on. We have to present our budget.
Yeah.
Because of the negotiations and the consultations, we've had extensive consultations with everyone, so that people can fully appreciate us or what is in front of us or what we're facing as a country. We have to present our budget. And we will have to be able to, at the end of the day, there has to be either the unions tell us to reduce the amount of government workers or to take a pay cut.
Although it says it is monitoring the international increases in fuel prices and safeguarding Belizean consumers, the Ministry of Finance is raising fuel prices yet again. The latest jump is for those of you who drive diesel vehicles. You will now have to pay 53 cents more beginning on Saturday. This increase to $10.15 a gallon follows a previous increase in diesel on February 24th of 42 cents. This brings the total rise in diesel fuel to almost a full $1 more per gallon than drivers were paying in early February. Premium's price was also ratcheted up 51 cents on February 24th. Regular gasoline has been climbing as well, with an increase earlier this week to $10.06 a gallon. According to the Ministry of Finance, these price fluctuations reflect current demand and supply conditions of crude oil in the international petroleum markets. There is much more news after the break, so don't go away.
Congratulations to our Belikin Poppers Topper winners today. Continue popping those toppers out of Belikin for a chance to win free beer. $20, $100, or $1,000.
Papa Stopper! Belikin, the beer of Belize.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, a safe and healthy workplace is a better workplace. It reduces the risk of infecting workers and visitors. An unhealthy workplace makes problems that are common to a pandemic even worse, such as increased workloads, longer working hours, isolation, domestic violence, stress, anxiety, and depression. On the other hand, a healthy workplace protects people, allows businesses to continue operations, and keeps communities healthy. You can do your part by following these steps. Wear a mask that covers your mouth and nose. Stay at least 6 feet away from others. Wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Look out for and follow all safety instruction signs. Stay at home and away from others if you feel ill. Speak up if you do not feel safe.
It takes all of us to slow the spread. A safe and healthy workplace is a better workplace.
For more information, visit www.covid19.bz. A message from the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the National Trade Union Congress of Belize in collaboration with the International Labor Organization.
Es un hecho que puedes obtener servicios ilimitados con Smart. ¿Cansado de que se corte la línea cuando más necesitas estar conectado? Es un hecho que cuando te suscribes al plan de Smart Plus, obtienes llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Y también es un hecho que te puedes suscribir con un grupo de 5 miembros al plan Smart Share y hasta 40 miembros al plan Smart Enterprise para llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Smart tiene los verdaderos planes ilimitados. Es un hecho. Sé Smart y vive de forma Smart.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Open government is the central policy which maintains that citizens have the right to access public records, as well as government proceedings in order to allow for effective public oversight. Shared access to information as a measure of ensuring accountability and inclusiveness is encouraged under the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In Belize, a concerted effort is now being undertaken through the Trust for the Americas to carry out a project called Transformation to an Open Public Administration. It is a partnership with the Organization of American States that has yielded Belize's first open government action plan, which sees input from civil society, academia, and the private sector. It also involves stakeholder participation from organizations such as the Belize Peace Movement. News 5 spoke with Paco Smith of BPM.
It's all about bringing Belize to a level with regards to transparency, accountability, adherence to the rule of law, those fundamental things that are central to the Open Government Partnership. Now, the Open Government Partnership is something separate and apart from this, but it represents where we want to take Belize with regards to this whole concept of accountability, transparency, and what have you. And in terms of the initiative that is being put on through the Trust for the Americas, this is an excellent opportunity for Belize to step into the forefront and get these type of things institutionalized. It was all about dealing with capacity building, attuning the citizenry with regards to the concept of open government and open data. I'd actually like to throw that in as well, because open data is a very, very critical part of this entire schematic, so to speak. Open data it comes into the fore with regards to providing information to the public, or I should say access to information for the public with regards to public services, government services and things of that nature.
The arrangement between the government and the public, particularly the civil society, how does that work in terms of bringing about a certain kind of synergy moving forward?
Yes, in terms of the arrangement, what we seek to develop is a partnership. It all deals with collaboration, inclusivity, and getting everyone, all the key stakeholders involved. When we talk about key stakeholders, definitely civil society is part and parcel of the mix. But we're also looking at involving academia, as well as the private sector, and as far as John and Jane Q Public, because individuals can contribute to this as well, as they have.
As part of the action plan, Paco Smith drafted 3 of 7 project commitments. They include ensuring that the government of Belize is compliant with the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. It also considers climate change and its impact on the environment and the resulting socio-economic effects on the country. The action plan also looks to establish open government education in Belize. Smith further discusses the collaboration between government and its social partners to realize its objectives.
In terms of the synergies, what we want is to have government come on board and support the effort, because if we're talking about raising the awareness with regards to open government, it really entails the proactive input of government as well, because it makes no sense for us to try to enact things on this side and there's no balance. So the synergies that we seek are very, very critical with regards to liaising with government and all the other all the other constituent parts to bring this forward.
What would you think is perhaps the greatest benefit or takeaway for Belizeans in the form of an open government policy?
The one that really stands out in my mind is the fact that it will lead towards Belize having more accountability. It will lead towards Belize having more transparency, and it will also lead towards Belize being more inclusive with regards to different stakeholders having their say in terms of how we're governed. And not only how we're governed, but also the services that are provided through government.
When we return, a fund for Southern Regional Hospital. New ambulances are on the way.
Un lugar de trabajo seguro y saludable protege a usted y a los suyos en su hogar. Todos debemos implicarnos y cumplir con las medidas para prevenir el contagio del virus. En el lugar de trabajo, practique siempre hábitos seguros y saludables y mantenga los lugares de trabajo limpios y desinfectados. Adapte las condiciones y métodos de trabajo para reducir el riesgo de contagio. Utilice correctamente y en todo momento el equipo de protección personal. Si no se siente seguro, dígalo. Su seguridad y salud es la prioridad. Los trabajadores de primera línea están expuestos a un mayor riesgo y necesitan una atención especial. Coopere y apóyelos.
It takes all of us to stop the spread. A safe and healthy workplace is a better workplace.
Para obtener más información, visite www.covid19.bz. Un mensaje de la Cámara de Comercio e Industria de Belice y el Congreso Nacional de Sindicatos de Belice, en colaboración con la Organización Internacional del Trabajo.
The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of La Immaculada Credit Union. Justice Arana ordered the former general manager, Yolanda Gomez, to pay the credit union almost $437 in damages and court costs. Justice Arana also ruled that La Immaculada Credit Union did not wrongfully terminate Gomez and is not liable to make any payment to her. The story made headlines back in 2015 when Credit Union placed Gomez on administrative leave while it investigated allegations she did not comply with procedures and made questionable decisions during her tenure. The silence from the credit unions board to its membership about the investigation prompted a protest in front of the credit union. And at the conclusion of the investigation, the credit union fired Gomez. The matter ended up before the Supreme Court. There was 2 civil suits, one by Gomez against the credit union for wrongful termination after almost 25 years of service, and one by the credit union for damages amounting to over $400,000 against Gomez. News 5 contacted La Inmaculada this afternoon to find out more on the matter. But we were informed that a press release which has been circulated on the ruling would be the only comment from that institution. The Southern Regional Hospital has secured funding from the government of Japan to purchase new ambulances. On Thursday, the Japanese ambassador, Kazuhiro Ergu, presented a check for almost $400,000 to the medical facility. The handing over is the result of an application made by the management team at the Southern Regional Hospital to the Grassroots Human Security Project. According to the Ministry of Health, the project assists non-governmental organizations and local public authorities in developing countries improve their health facilities and procure equipment for hospitals. Michelle Shabat, Minister of Health and Wellness, and Dr. Fernelda Gutierrez, the Regional Health Manager, accepted the grant funds from the Ambassador Ergu. After the break, Women's Month continues with a spotlight on the sciences, this time marine biology.
Preventing the spread of COVID-19 at work requires that businesses of all sizes and sectors put safety and health first. Managers and employees should conduct risk assessments to identify critical areas and procedures that put lives and businesses in danger. Here are 6 tips for creating a safe and healthy working environment. 1. Identify potential sources of virus transmission. 2. Determine who might be infected and how. 3. Discuss and decide prevention and control measures. 4. Make sure the safety equipment being used is right for the situation. 5. Implement, communicate, and test measures. 6. Keep records, review measures, and update when necessary.
We must all do our part to slow the spread. A safe and healthy workplace is a better workplace.
For more information, visit www.covid19.bz. A message from the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the National Trade Union Congress of Belize in collaboration with the International Labor Organization.
Hello? Okay, sure, I'll be there.
Hi, Mommy. When are you coming home? I really miss you.
Hearing the voice of our loved ones can always lift our spirits and make us feel whole again. With Smart's twice as nice promotion, prepaid customers who make 5 minutes worth of national calls on Sundays can enjoy 50% off. Top double on all national calls for the rest of the day. Call your loved ones and enjoy half off all day long. Smart, bringing people together.
Durante la pandemia de la COVID-19, un lugar de trabajo seguro y saludable es un lugar de trabajo mejor. Esto reduce el riesgo de transmisión del virus entre trabajadoras, trabajadores y clientes. Los lugares de trabajo inseguros agravan los problemas durante la pandemia. Aumento de la carga de trabajo, jornadas laborales más largas, aislamiento, violencia doméstica, estrés, ansiedad y depresión. Trabajar de manera segura protege a las personas, permite seguir operando y mantiene a las comunidades saludables. Usted puede hacer la diferencia siguiendo los siguientes pasos: usando máscaras para cubrir boca y nariz, respetando el distanciamiento físico de 6 pies, lavándose las manos con jabón durante al menos 20 segundos, siguiendo instrucciones y señalización de seguridad y salud, quedándose en casa si está enfermo, diciéndolo si no se siente seguro.
It takes all of us to slow the spread. A safe and healthy workplace is a better workplace.
Para obtener más información, visite www.covid19.bz. Un mensaje de la Cámara de Comercio e Industria de Belice y el Congreso Nacional de Sindicatos de Belice en colaboración con la Organización Internacional del Trabajo.
In our continuing effort to shine a light on exemplary Belizean women for Women's Month, tonight we introduce you to a young marine biologist. While the number of women in these sciences has significantly increased in recent years, women are still underrepresented in some fields. The Belize Audubon Society is one organization working to increase women's representation in the crucial areas of conservation, ecology, and biology. News 5's Andrea Polanco has more.
I was a student at the University of Belize and I was majoring in biology actually, and we had this field trip where we had to go to Turnef, and that was the first time I actually went to the reef, saw what was happening in the water, and when I saw that I completely changed majors. I switched over to marine science and it just grew from there.
Barona now has a career in marine biology. She's been working with the Belize Audubon Society for the past 2.5 years as the research and monitoring officer.
It took a lot of active effort to end up where I am. It wasn't just the in-class sessions, but I did a lot of volunteering to be able to understand and be proficient in my field.
What is it you love now about this job that you have?
Teaching. Actually, throughout my years, I've learned so much, and I get joy out of sharing that with people, giving people the experience that I got when I was younger.
The Belize Audubon Society co-manages 7 protected areas, 5 terrestrial and 2 marine protected areas, and so Barona's role is critical to support management decisions.
Her role helps the organization in monitoring the natural resources out at the Lighthouse Reef Atoll, and information that is collected is used to inform decision making for the protected areas.
Barona's work at the Belize Audubon Society is twofold. She spends some time in the office doing data analysis, but some of her best days are out in the field where things can get very unpredictable.
When you're out in the field, it's not a regular 8 o'clock morning. Sometimes you're up at 6 a.m., you're on the boat really early. For example, when you're doing a spawning aggregation monitoring, peak hours for spawning is at the break of dawn and right before the sun sets, and it's super exciting, but it does take up a lot of your time. Sometimes the weather is not perfect. It's not flat seas, it's not sunny skies, it's like really, really cold when we have a cold front. The sea is very rough, but it's fun. You get a lot of experience out of it. So it's not easy for sure.
And sometimes just working in a male-dominated field brings its own challenges, but the Belize Audubon Society has created opportunities to encourage women to take up space in conservation, as well as an environment that promotes women's participation in marine science.
So when I entered the conservation field 15 years ago, it really was a male-dominated field, and to a large extent it still is. But Belize Audubon Society has had a long history of supporting and empowering women in the conservation field. We've had a history of women as protected areas managers, women as executive directors, and we've expanded beyond that in having women as rangers. You have to love it. We can definitely do it. It's just a matter of striking that balance. I think a lot of women are deterred perhaps because of family reasons or feeling like they won't be able to sustain and being out in a harsh environment. But I think once we set our minds to it, we can do it. We have a lot of women in Belize across the NGO sector who are leaders in this field.
The environment, yes, it is a friendly one. You do have challenges, like I said before, but in terms of how you carry yourself with people, I think you give people respect and they give you the same respect back. So being in a male-dominated environment is not something threatening. It's just something you deal with.
Do you think it has pushed you to maybe do better, to improve and be better at your job?
For sure, for sure. There is always competition in anything that you do, and it definitely drives you to try to be the best.
And so Barona's advice for those who want a career in this field is simple.
Get out there, just get some experience under your belt, do a lot of volunteering. It's time away from your family. I remember when I was younger, I was always on a boat somewhere doing something, and my mom was like, why are you always out there? Stay at home, do something. And it does pay off. You do learn a lot from many different people, so that would be my biggest suggestion, just get out there.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.
And that's the news. We end tonight's broadcast with extending congratulations to the Prime Minister, who has just become a grandfather. Baby Celeste was born on Thursday to proud parents Daniel and Roselle Briceño. Daniel is pictured here with his newborn. Congratulations to the Briceño family. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.